Hey, Dad.
Want to see something? What?
The journey of Cesar is in many ways the journey that the movie takes. And to have Andy Serkis play Cesar has been above and beyond my wildest hopes and expectations.
He's really brought a depth to the character, and once he's in it, he's just this very well-rounded, deep character who goes through this incredible transformation.
You know, and Andy is such an incredible actor. He gave really fantastic performances. You really feel this character go through a whole series of discoveries and setbacks and revelations, and he tells that story all in his face and in his body.
And it's just so great that in the world of performance capture, Andy Serkis is top of his field.
So what's your secret?
Oh, I can't take any credit. It's in his genes.
I think you're being very modest. He's pretty amazing.
Andy Serkis has created this new kind of performance in a way, and he fell into it. I mean, he was cast as Gollum just for his voice, and then I guess Peter Jackson realized what a great physical performance he was giving and that he should try and capture that in some way. So Andy kind of fell into this performance capture world and has really pioneered it, and so Rupert wanted him immediately.
That was great, the reaction. He's one of those actors that's embraced the technology because he understands the potential of what it can achieve. And he's one of those actors that really understands that every nuance that he gives is conveyed onto the screen.
What makes Andy a really great performer in this kind of role, starting with Gollum and Lord of the Rings to King Kong, and especially in the role of Caesar, is that he brings a lot of experience to it that's really relevant.
The basic usage of performance capture is to create a fidelity to the actor's performance. So when you see it on the screen, you will see the apes, but they're apes which are infused with the heart and soul of an actor's performance.
And Andy complements that in the work that he's done with us because he understands the animation process that goes through afterwards, so he knows what we're going to be able to add on to it afterwards so that everyone actually understands the nuances and the subtlety of the performance.
It's one of the technical and creative merges that we have in the movie. So technologically, we need to be able to capture Andy in his performance.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape! No!
But there are times where Andy's presence is bigger than Caesar, so we use Devon for blocking and for being able to see a shape or a character that's more the actual size of Caesar.
Cut. Working with Andy has been really awesome. I've learned so much working with him. He's amazing at it. And just kind of watching him mostly, I guess, or following him, and just really looking at everything he does to try and do it the exact same.
So the technique that we use is to first capture the scene with the performer who's going to be, in this case, Caesar, for example. We would perform the scene with Andy. And then afterwards, you'll do other things to try to fill in the missing gaps. Like you'll record the whole scene again without Andy so that we have information of what the camera might expect to see behind him, because he's bigger than Caesar. And so you have to paint in a lot of things to help take Andy out of the set. You might do it with a smaller performer or a stand-in just walking through the set just to get an actual size reference. There's things that you do to try to figure out what the lighting was doing, what the camera was doing on set. There's a lot of information that has to get gathered to kind of recreate in a virtual world everything that you see in the real world.
So it's a little bit like Roger Rabbit. I mean, you have the opportunity to have Andy playing Caesar acting alongside James, who's playing Will Rodman, the human scientist. And so we shoot that scene where the two of them are interacting. And of course, that's great. James doesn't have to act against thin air.
And so while we're acting, he is not in an ape suit. He's in, these gray pajama-looking things with sensors all over his body, and he has dots on his face that will help the effects team read his expressions in the computer. So you would think that acting opposite somebody like that and trying to think that they were a chimpanzee would be very difficult. But from the first scene that we had together on, it's been easy, because Andy is so good at the behavior, and he's so connected to what he's doing and, the other actors, that he allows my imagination to take over, and I really can treat him as a very intelligent chimpanzee with a chimpanzee. And that's basically, what he's giving me there, this believable behavior, is basically what you look for from any other actor you're acting opposite. If they're good, they'll pull you into the scene and the circumstance. And so that's exactly what he's done.
But what you then have to do is you then have to take Andy out of the shot, and you have to redo the scene again. And that's what's called a clean plate, where you are doing Roger Rabbit, where James has to perform against nothing. And that's really challenging for everybody, because he's not reacting off of anything. he's having to basically create the energy of that scene.
So the time he feels silliest is when the shot is a close-up on Andy, but he's not there. So basically the camera's just shooting a wall, and I'm acting to that wall. But it's fine. I mean, you kind of just chalk it up to something that's necessary to make a movie like this.
I think the thing that makes Andy Serkis so good at performance capture is that he's a great actor. He has a great understanding of character, and he becomes so emotionally invested in those characters that sometimes, even though he's dressed in a funny suit and he's got markers and green dots on his face, you watch him, on set and during the takes, and you're just completely there. You believe that he's a chimpanzee, even though nothing in his physical appearance would tell you otherwise. So, yeah, he's a top-notch actor.
And cut there. That's one bad monkey.
I wasn't exactly sure whether they were going to be using real monkeys. I mean, obviously I knew that Cesar was going to be something a little special, but when I heard that Andy Serkis was doing it, I was extraordinarily excited. Not only am I a huge fan, but I knew that he's going to make it a lot easier for me. The fact that I could react against someone, and it's terrifying seeing a human act that primitive, really, so that massively helps.
He really has nailed this kind of work, and it's the future in a way.
He's the one that brings these scenes to life, and he's a wonderful actor.
Performance capture is about getting inside the soul of whatever character you're playing, whether it's human or whether it's a creature or whether it's an ape. And I think that's the real thing that people haven't understood about performance capture, and they think performance capture is about servicing a visual effect, and it's none of those things. The emotional center of the performance will only come from an actor. And with Cesar, it's actually a brilliant tool.
Encapsulated within this extraordinary person is this talent that raises everybody else up. And it was amazing to see, and it including me, when you get onto a set with somebody like Andy Serkis, he has a spirit and an effervescence about him that, all of the other apes, he became the leader of those apes. And it wasn't through dictating or in any way dominating any of the others. It was all about basically leading by example. And a lot of our actors that were playing the apes were from theatre or from a stunt background. And in a way, the story mirrored the actual making of the movie, because he actually allowed them to believe in the fact that this was possible, that we could do this. And I think, that's a really rare breed, that you get an actor that is that engaging and that encouraging and also brilliant.
Caesar's home.